Hi, Jody. So just to do my description here, just following up with some of the pointers that you were able to put on that worksheet regarding the project, where my sample is from. My sample is actually from my daughter playing the Xbox. So it's actually the sounds of the buttons when she was playing the video game. I was able to get a solid 2 minutes of the sound. Yeah, I'm a very big ASMR nerd, so I really enjoy like tapping and clicking, and I was really intrigued by the sounds of the buttons on the controller. So yeah, I just recorded that and decided to use it as a sample. Now, in regards to manipulating the sample, so after I got my 2 minutes and I uploaded the whole thing, I listened to all of it, and I was able to find a spot that I just really liked the way she was able to kind of create like a rhythm with the way the buttons were kind of pressed. So it kind of created like a cool rhythm, and I'm like, hey, I really like that. So then I was able to kind of crop out the sound, the parts that I wasn't going to use, and just get the part that I decided to use. And then I really messed around with things as like the pitch to it. So it's not in the original pitch. I actually pitched it up. I did try to quantize it and put it where it fell on the beat, so it wasn't just some random sound. So I know I noodled around with that a little bit as well as the tempo. I speeded the tempo up. So elements I added and what I did with them. So I did change the overall key, I don't know why, to D minor. It's just kind of what I did to just make it all fit. It was weird, but I know I started with the Xbox sound, and then from there, this is also getting into my process. So I started with the Xbox sound and I kind of noodled around with that. And then I decided to add a chord loop. So I was just kind of playing around with the synthesizer keyboard, and just was able to create a random sort of chord pattern that fit, that I really liked. And I kept looping it, and then it happened to be in D minor, so then that set the whole key for the piece. And I just kind of built around that. So from there, I went on to the drums. So I incorporated a beat with that after, because I know we were supposed to incorporate percussion. So I was like, well, it doesn't really have a beat other than the Xbox controller and the synth. So then I decided to play around with some of the drums. And at this point, I kind of figured, hey, it sounds like something that I could make very electronic. So then I kind of messed around with that, was able to find sort of drum pattern that fit electronic music. And I put another pattern that kind of led up to build up. And then from there, I was able to add kind of like the boop that goes up to right before a drop. So like creating a build up. And I added the voice in for special effects, the 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I decided to let that be like a lead into my melody. So that's kind of what I did. And I just played around with, in terms of the melody, it was very made up on the spot. I wanted to keep it very simple, very catchy, and obviously within the key. So I just kind of used, I think, 2 or 3 notes to mess around with that and created a melody. And from there, yeah, that was basically it. And then moving everything around, I had to move it and adjust it. For me, it was kind of noodling around with the bars and putting everything right on bars, because I wasn't sure exactly if we were to have it specifically lined up. So I tried to keep everything in a very organized fashion as much as I could. Anything that I found frustrating, the quantizing was a bit frustrating, and being able to stretch out the tempo was something else that I struggled a little bit to try to make it so that it fit, because it all has to kind of fit and make sense. I mean, I'm sure some people just kind of put a bunch of stuff, but I kind of wanted it to make sense because I take pride in my work. What I learned about working with a DAW. it takes patience. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time. Something that I don't have is the patience. And so it really did, it was kind of difficult in the sense where I had to really Google. I did use Google. I was Googling and YouTubing different tips and tricks. At first it was frustrating because it's so overwhelming when you get thrown into it. But after that, I was okay. I never really had too many difficulties. Once I kind of got the hang of it, then I was like, okay, I got this, I got the basics. And yeah, it just took time to really play around with it. It did, each stage did take a little bit of work. So I did have to go back and modify and listen and change and cut things and move things. And so just having that patience is what was really important for me. But other than that, I think it was a great first project. I definitely learned a lot. I tried to make something electronic. That's what came to my mind as I put in a beat, was Skrillex music and some of the EDM type stuff, which I don't listen to, but I'm a little bit familiar with it. So I kind of got my inspiration from that. So yeah, hope you enjoy.